Coming up in this week's video, I'm going to share my thoughts and edits on two of my favourite landscape photographs from the summer. First, some news and updates about the channel. Well, hello guys and welcome back to the channel. We haven't done this for a while, just sat down and had a cup of coffee and a chat and talked about some images and what's happening with photography in general with respect to my YouTube channel, websites and everything else which I've got going on. And I'm going to do this now on a bit more of a regular basis. I'm going to come back to why I'm going to do that a little bit later on and explain to you why. First of all, I just want to say that it's been a bit of a tough summer, to be honest. Photography, certainly landscape photography for me in the summer is always a little bit of a struggle. The really early mornings and everything sort of take their toll, to be honest, and make it a little bit difficult to get out sometimes. And the same with the late evenings as well, you know. I do this as a part-time thing. The full-time job obviously takes priority, and at the end of the day, it's no fun driving home from somewhere, getting home at 12 o'clock at night and then have to get up and go work the next day. So I tend to get a little bit less photography done during the summer month. But that's not to say it was a complete waste of time, because it wasn't. What was good for the channel was that I was able to incorporate at least one trip away with the family, which is a fantastic family holiday, and get a couple of shoots in as well whilst we were away. So it wasn't a complete total washout of a summer. Now this whole video isn't going to be just me sat down in front of the camera talking to you about my channel, because I'm going to go through a couple of images in a moment that I took during the summer that I didn't have time to produce a video for at the time. I think I touched on it when I talked about my new camera rucksack that I've purchased. So that's one of the things I want to talk about really, is that although I've not been doing a huge amount of videography and a huge amount of photography and getting it all going towards the YouTube channel, and certainly the channel's struggled a little bit because of that, what I have been doing is putting in the foundations for getting better content out, making it easier for me to produce, easier for me to edit, and be able to get out more and go a greater distance and produce better content. So there's a couple of things that's happened. The first thing was the upgrade to the camera rucksack. If you've not seen that video, there is a video about it. It's not particularly great, to be honest, because the reason it didn't work out very well because I was using a new vlogging camera, and it was one of the first times that I used it. So I've gone away from carrying my bulky old Canon 7D SLR around where I can't see myself in the viewfinder and the audio inputs weren't great, to a much lighter setup using what I'm filming on now, which is this Sony ZV-1, which up to now I'm really pleased with. Time will tell whether it's robust enough to keep going out in the outdoors. It's not a weatherproof camera, but it fits the bill at the moment. I just feel a little bit nervous when I'm using it in case it topples over or there's a problem with it, because it's much lighter and not such a rugged build as some of my other photography gear. But we'll see how it goes. Up to now I'm really pleased with it anyway. So that's the first thing that's been going on. I've also had to put a little bit of thought into the number of videos that I can produce a month and when I actually release them. Because what I've found during the summer is that as lockdown has sort of eased and we've been able to go out and do more things and catch up with friends and meet in groups, which has been absolutely fantastic, it does of course mean that I haven't had so much time to get out and do landscape photography as I would have liked. I would dearly like to produce 4 videos a month, get one out every Sunday, but that's really not worked out, partly because of, like I say, the amount of shoots I've fitted in during the summer, and also sometimes I've just missed my weekend upload slot because I've been out doing other things. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change to release my videos now on a Wednesday night during the middle of the week. So that's going to be a new slot, and that'll take a little bit of getting used to. Hopefully that's going to give me Saturdays and Sundays some availability to do other photography related things. One's going to be out shooting these videos. The other's going to be picking up my workshops again, because obviously now we can meet again, get together in groups. I'm having a lot more inquiries for workshops, and I've held a few already this year. So hopefully that's going to pick up, and I'll be doing some more workshop things as well. So I'm not going to spend the whole of this video talking to you about what's happening on the channel and what's going on in my life in general, because it is a photography channel. So I've got a couple of photographs that I did take during the summer which I want to talk to you a little bit more about. One of them, I think, yes, in fact, one of them definitely I did actually create a video of and a vlog, and I'll put a clip up in a minute just so you can see how I took the picture. And then I'm going to talk to you about the edit and what I was trying to capture with it. And then one of them was an image which I didn't get an opportunity to vlog, but it's probably one of my favourite images taken this year, so I'm going to talk to you about that one as well. So let's pop over to the computer and have a look at those pictures. So the first photograph that I wanted to talk about today was Pulp Rock. I actually entitled it Afterglow at Pulp Rock. And I think the reason for that from the finished picture that's up on the screen is really quite obvious. What I wanted to get with this photograph was that really warm red pinkish light that was illuminating this beautiful sort of Portland sandstone just after the sun had set. So it could be said that this was sort of like a blue hour photograph. I needed to stay around quite a while and be quite patient when I was taking it. Up on the area of the rock itself, there were people standing there and I had to wait for them to move, and I was quite lucky to get the picture in the end. What also attracted me to it was the sea that was swirling around and coming up onto this shelf just below. And it worked as quite a good lead into the picture to take you from that foreground right the way around to the rock itself, which is sat nicely in the middle of the frame. Now at the taking stage, I think I kind of already knew it was going to be a 5:4 crop. I find sometimes if you go with the native 3:2 crop that you get on the camera, then quite often you actually find the picture to be too narrow, and that sometimes makes things look a little bit weak. I feel weak and thin. So the 5:4 crop works really well. So let's just pop into Lightroom into the edit side of things, develop module, sorry, and have a look at what changes I made at the editing stage. So what I thought I would do to actually make it a little bit easier to see what I've changed and what I have on it is I'm going to put up the raw file on the screen and the edited version side by side. So if you look at these two images up on the screen now, you'll see that there really isn't a huge amount of difference between them. And what I actually decided to do with it was just enhance what was already there. Most of my photography kind of relies on looking at what is already in the landscape and making the most of it. And a cup of coffee. So all I've done with the image on the right hand side is taken what I could see at the time and just exaggerated a little bit. Because what I find with photography is that what you see in the landscape doesn't necessarily transfer with the same emotion and with the same strength as it does when it's on the screen or when it's set up as a print. So most of my edits are focused around bringing out that little bit of feeling, that bit of drama, that little bit of emotion, that little bit of action that's in there already. So let's have a look at what I've done. So we'll just go into develop, and what we'll do is we'll have a look at the final picture. So let's just go to the edit panel. Like I said, I'm not going to edit the images for you or go through that. That's not what this is about. This is about explaining my thought process. On the right hand side of the screen, we've got our edits. I've played very little with the exposure. The exposure was already pretty much exactly where I wanted it. I have increased the whites a little bit to make those waves on the shelf and in the foreground stand out. I've reduced the blacks a little bit to push a little bit more contrast into it. But most of my changes have been made down in the HSL and colour panel. And the reason for that was because those were the things that draw me into the picture. It was the contrast between those warm, bright golden lights, the reflective pinks and oranges and yellows, and the deep blues in the stormy sky and the sea itself. So you'll see in this panel that I've increased the oranges and the yellows. I've brought up the aqua to bring out some of that greeny blue in the water, and I've brought the blues up a little bit as well. And to be honest, that's pretty much all that I've actually done to the main settings and the main areas on this picture. I haven't had to use a graduated filter, I have, however, used a vignette, and all I've done with that, as you can see on the screen now, is just use it to bring down the shadows and the highlights a little bit in those areas and the exposure down. And all that does is it just enables me to make sure that your eye is drawn into the rock in the middle. I haven't made any selective edits. It was really as simple as that as to produce. And if all of my photography could be edited that way and with that level of simplicity, I'd be a very happy guy. So let's have a look at the second image I want to talk about today. Now this is one of the images which I didn't actually have time to vlog and put a video together at the time. We're away with friends camping on the side of this lake, and I just got up one morning and the lighting was absolutely fantastic, and I just didn't have time really to put a video together and sort things out. I was so afraid that the conditions were going to change so quick and so fast that I wouldn't have had time to have captured it at the same time. And something that I've sort of decided for myself right when I started this channel was that the photography had to come first. So if I was ever out and had to make a choice between making a new video or capturing the scene, I would capture the scene, because that's what the channel's about. It's about photography, not about making videos. So as I did with the last one, if we swap over to the screen now and have a look at it, I've put up the two images side by side. So the one on the right of the screen is the raw file from the camera. It has still got the vignette on it, to be honest, so it is slightly different. And the one on the left is the image that I finally produced as the final edit. Now the comparison between the two is really that I've added a lot more warmth into the one on the left hand side. And once again, it's all about this exaggeration of what the atmosphere was and what the conditions were at the time. And the reason that I've done that is because although it doesn't come over so well in the photograph on the right hand side, it was feeling quite warm. The sun was coming up, you could see that it was burning the mist off, and you had this feeling of warmth, of the beginning of the new day, of warm dawn light coming up over. And that doesn't come over very well in the image that was captured on the camera. Now, when I'm out in the field, I generally leave my camera on auto white balance. So sometimes it's going to compensate for color shifts and cool things down or warm things up artificially. I'm not saying that's what happened here, because I don't worry about color balance in the field too much, because it literally is what I'm trying to capture and what I want to put together when I'm out in the field myself. So let's have a look how I created this warm feel in the editing stage. So once again, on the right hand side, on this image I've done a lot more than I had with the other one, so let's just talk through it. I've actually changed the color temperature. I've made it much warmer. I've also altered the tint to go more towards the magenta end of it, to put a bit more warmth back into the picture. I've taken the exposure down a lot more, but I've also boosted the contrast a little bit more. If we go down to the highlights, you'll see that I've that I've brought the highlights back to almost minus 62, which is quite a lot. I've done the same with the whites as well, but I've also brought the blacks back a little bit. I've come back just as far as I can because I wanted to get a little bit more detail and a little more depth to the picture by bringing out the shore on the other side of the lake, and by just tweaking those blacks a bit, it enabled me to do that. That's introduced contrast into the image, which is quite fine, but I wanted to keep that warm, that sort of that light airy feel. So what I've done is I've taken the saturation up a little bit as well, just to saturate any tones and colours which are already in the image. I haven't had to do anything with this picture in the HSL or colour panel, because that warm feeling was all generated from everything that I've just done by changing the overall colour temperature. I haven't done anything with the colour grading, and I haven't really done anything else with sharpening or anything. What I didn't say last time is that I always by default leave my lens corrections on. So I always have on the removing the chromatic aberration and also enabling any profile corrections. So I do that automatically when I load any image into the picture. So let's have a look at any selective edits or anything that I might have done. So in this particular picture, once again, there is no graduation been applied to it. I've made no selective edits. I've simply once again applied the vignette to the outside edge of the picture, just to darken things a little bit and draw your eye in towards the middle and the center of those boats. So that's all I've done on this image, and I was really pleased with the result of this one. I thought it came out really well. Well, just before we wrap up for today and go, I just want to say that I really enjoyed sort of doing this video today and having the opportunity to talk to you guys, one, about what's happening on the channel, but most importantly, some of the thought process behind the videos behind the photographs which I've produced over the last month or so. And it's something that I'm going to do more. I'm going to do a few more of these videos, probably about once a month, depending on how my shooting schedule goes. But the idea behind it is to give an opportunity, one, for when you comment during the month on my other videos, so I can answer some of those questions and come back to you and speak to you as a group of people a bit more, so hopefully a bit more interactive. And also so that I can give you some of my thoughts on the images when I edited them and when I took them, something I maybe don't do so much out in the field, because I need to see the final edit as well to enable us to do that. So I like the idea of showing the before and the after and talking through the edit. Now, it's not intended to be an educational video. It's not intended to show you exactly how I did everything. It's more about giving you ideas on how you could edit, enhance or change your own images yourself. I'm quite happy, of course, though, to go through editing, and if there's any images that you see during my videos during the month or older ones which I've already produced, and you'd like me to edit them for you live on the screen and show you what I've done, just tell me in the comments and I can do that for you. So it's time for me to get ready for tomorrow's shoot, so I'm going to leave it at that for now, and I'll see you later on in the next video. If you enjoyed the video, please do all the usual nice stuff and give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Honest, it really helps. Check out the description links for freebies and lots of useful links.